defensively, the talent on the Atlanta defense, maybe I'm overrating a guy like Calais Campbell, who's almost our age. Maybe I'm overrating, Jesse Bates coming in. That's where they spent the money. But they looked bad on paper last year.
They were bad on. They were
bad on paper. They battled. They maybe overachieved a little bit. Much better this year. Incremental improvements. They paid a lot of money for Caden Ellis to come in from the Saints as a linebacker. Grady Jarrett actually has some friends up front on the defensive line. Now, I don't know what to expect from Bud Dupree coming in. We've never been big Bud Dupree fans, but he's making $3 million a year.
Oh, I know what to expect.
Okay, great. Arnold Ebiketie, guy that I love, model guy. Older model guy, but, showed some pretty good stuff as a rookie. He heads into year 2. Zach Harrison as a rookie edge. We'll see what there's a lot more talent and depth on this side, especially in the secondary where Jesse Bates comes in to join A.J. Terrell and Richie Grant.
No, they threw a lot of resources at this defense, and it desperately needed it. They had problems. They had no talent anywhere in this defense other than Grady Jarrett, effectively. They've completely overhauled this group. And
David Onyemata comes in.
Yeah, and they've thrown, they had draft picks from a year or so ago, like guys like Ebiketie who can step forward and become a much better player this year. He's had a really good preseason so far. Again, we're in this world of expectations for rookies to be immediate impact players. It doesn't always go that way, particularly for defensive linemen. Year 2, year 3 actually makes sense. So now David Onyemata, Grady Jarrett, Calais Campbell, Arnold Ebiketie, that's a group that theoretically can play up front. A.J. Terrell has had an inconsistent time in the NFL. I don't know how much of that is his fault versus dude had no help either. Jeffrey Okudah, I think, was a really nice buy low type of prospect. This hasn't worked out as a top draft pick, the number 3 overall pick. But last year it was playing okay. So, Jeffrey Okudah is your number 2. They've got some players in the slot that can play. Jesse Bates, Richie Grant at safety. This is a much, much better defense than it looked a year ago, than it was a year ago.
It's a better mix of young players like Ebiketie and Troy Anderson, who you want to see more from. Veterans who are getting paid, David Onyemata, Jesse Bates, and then the Mike Hughes, another former first rounder that has played solid football over the last few years, and then like you said, the buy low on Jeffrey Okudah. It's just a better mix of all of those types of players on the defensive side of the ball. So, look, we're talking about the NFC South. The Falcons are the first team. When you look at the NFC South schedule, all the schedules look easy for all the teams. So the Falcons should be able to do a little bit of damage there. Offensively, we mentioned how exciting they look. Can't wait to see how they fit Bijan Robinson in. And of all the teams that didn't look like they needed a running back, the Falcons didn't look like they needed a running back. But they still added to the mix.
They didn't need a running back.
They didn't.
Quite clearly didn't need a running back.
Right. Everybody was good back there. Algier was, you mentioned this with Gus Edwards. Remember, Gus Edwards goes undrafted, averages 5 yards per carry for the Ravens, and then they go and draft J.K. Dobbins in the second round the next year. If any team had learned, maybe he could put not anybody back there, but you could grab a 5th-round rookie like Algier and get a ton of production out of him.
With Patterson there as well.
With Cordero Patterson there. You could get a ton of production out of a former wide receiver and a 5th-round running back. And then they still go and say, nope, we're getting the elite running back. Again, I'm not commenting on the quality of the move either way, but it's interesting to see that they're taking a strength and trying to make it an even bigger strength because that's the way they play. And they're going to feel like the run game is going to be the only chance for Desmond Ridder to protect him, to create the play action opportunities for Drake London, for Kyle Pitts, and all of those mismatched playmakers we talked about. If they played that controlled game on offense, it'll help this defense that's already, as we mentioned, improved and incrementally better in a whole bunch of spots. Makes the Falcons a pretty solid sleeper here in the NFC with an easy schedule.
The one thing I really want to see from them in year 2 of Desmond Ridder is I want to see them using him as part of the design run game more. They didn't do that at all last season effectively. He would scramble, but Marcus Mariota had the plays, in the zone read type of things, like design quarterback plays, rushing wise. Desmond Ridder isn't as athletic as Marcus Mariota, but he's not that far behind. That dude runs a 4.5 40. He's an athlete. Let him be part of that game. Do it in the way the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson when Marshawn Lynch was there, right? Have it just as a threat that the defense needs to respect. And as soon as they're not respecting it, take advantage of it. But don't take it off the table completely because it helps everybody.
He ran for, I don't have the no play filter on here. He ran for over 700 yards in 3 out of 4 years at Cincinnati. So he can run a little bit.
Yeah.
Ritter. And so, yeah, you
with
just
like
need,
a 4.58 40. Yeah. Like he's more than athletic enough for that to be a threat that you have to respect as a defense.
And what you're describing is you're not running downhill power and counter with him. You're just keeping him as part of the keeper game. You're running zone all the time. All you do is use him as part of the keeper game, keep one guy honest, and that's it. That's part of the reason why they were so successful last year, because Mariota could at least do that, even though he wasn't hitting throws. All right, over-under is 8.5 here for the Falcons. 8.5 now, because we're into the NFC South where the schedules are a lot easier.
Over.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my Falcons optimism. Let's go over. I think they can win 9.